This video introduces the Leap Find tool, Leap's more advanced search option. In this video, we'll explore the Find tool and demonstrate how to configure a search. To open the Find tool, click the Find link on the Leap header. When the Find tool opens, you'll follow a few key steps to set up and generate your search. Let's walk through them together. First, you'll use the drop-down menus in the upper portion of the Find tool to select what and how you want to search. We'll do a deep dive into these drop-downs later in the video. Next, you'll type in your search terms, or depending on your search configuration, select the values you'd like to search for from a drop-down list. At this time, you can also apply filters to help narrow down your search. We'll learn more about using filters in a later video. Once your search terms are typed or selected, you'll click the Search button to initiate the search and view your list of results. Double-click any record in your search results to open and view that record. After you open a record, easily return to your search results by clicking the Results button in the upper right-hand corner of the record. Now that you've got the basic setup down, let's dig a little deeper into the drop-down configuration options available at the top of the Find tool. First, you'll select the type of record or object to search for using the Search Database drop-down. The Find tool allows you to search several different record types, including bibliographic records, patron records, item records, record sets, hold and ILL requests, and acquisitions and serials records like invoices, purchase orders, serial holdings records, and suppliers. To select the record type you'd like to search, click the Database column and select the record type from the list. Note that the Find tool only allows you to search one record type or object at a time. The second drop-down column on the Find tool is the Mode column. This column is where you indicate the type of search you'll be doing. Most of the time, you'll be using the basic search mode. This is your normal keyword search mode. In addition to basic search mode, there are also a few specialized search modes. The first is power searching. All staff can perform a power search, which uses common command language to build a query. We'll talk more about power searching later in the course. Staff with the appropriate permissions can also run a SQL search, which uses structured query language or SQL to develop search commands. Because this is a more advanced search mode that takes up more system resources and can potentially cause system issues if run incorrectly, permissions to run a SQL query are limited to those in certain permission groups. Finally, if you're performing a bibliographic record search, you'll also have the option to do a browse search. When you perform a browse search, you'll select a specific field to search by: author, call number, subject, series, or title. When you type in your search terms to initiate a browse search, Polaris will return an alphabetical or numeric list of data points that begin with the characters you provided, similar to a phone book directory. The results are different from a keyword search in that the results are grouped together by headings. You can browse through the list to see related headings or data points. When you click a heading or listing in the index, a list of the bib records associated with that heading will open. The third drop-down column is the Qualifier column. This column allows you to choose the specific field you would like to search by. For example, if you're completing a bibliographic record search and select Title as your qualifier field, the Find tool will look for your search terms just in the title-related MARC record fields. If searching using the qualifier All Keyword Fields, the Find tool will look for your search term or terms in all keyword indexed fields for that record type. The fourth and final column on the Find tool is the Relation column. This column determines how Polaris will link together your search text. There are 5 different types of relations staff can choose from. Depending on which qualifier is currently selected, not all 5 relation options may be available. Let's go over them in detail. Keyword All looks for records that contain all of your search terms. It links the search terms together as if there were an AND between each term, like an AND Boolean search. With the keyword All search, The search terms do not have to appear adjacent to each other in the record or even in the same order you type them in. For example, if you were doing a title search for the book Station 11 in a keyword all search, Polaris would look for records where both Station and 11 appeared in the various title fields. The terms don't have to be together in the record or listed in that order. Keyword Any looks for records that contain at least one of your search terms. This is searching as if you were using the Boolean command OR in between your search terms. For example, if I do a title search for Station 11 and use the keyword Any relation, Polaris will look for records that have Station or 11 in the title fields. This would return titles that only have Station in the title, titles that only have 11 in the title, and titles that have both Station and 11 in the title. You'll find that using keyword Any will return significantly more results because Polaris is looking for any record that contains any of your search terms, whether they appear alone or together. The phrase relation searches your terms as if they were surrounded by quotations. Just like with keyword all, if I do a phrase search for Station 11, both Station and 11 need to appear in the record. Unlike with the keyword all search, a phrase search requires the terms to appear adjacent to each other and in the same order they were typed in. An exact search looks for records that contain just your search term or terms in the qualified fields. It's very useful for short one-word titles, such as It by Stephen King. One thing to keep in mind about the exact relation to search titles is that it's looking for both the title and subtitle at the same time. If I search Station 11 using the exact relation, it will not return records that include the subtitle, a novel. The exact truncated search takes your exact search and applies a wildcard at the end. This relation looks for records where, in our case of a title search, a title field begins with our search terms but allows other words or characters to follow. Because of this, when searching Station 11 using the exact truncated search, it will also include results that have the subtitle, a novel. This video was an introduction to using and configuring the Find tool. There is much more to come on using the Find tool in later lessons. In the meantime, if you need assistance or have questions, please email CCS staff at help@ccslib.org.